Fellas, the United States of America has just sanctioned prosecutors and judges in one of the biggest courts in the world. One of the biggest courts in the world. I mean, we're talking about the ICC, International Criminal Court. Okay? These are some of the people that's supposed to uphold justice in the entire world. I mean, it's like you're playing a game, right? You're playing a soccer game or basketball game or whatever. And everybody respect the referee, right? That's the referee. You have to keep yourself accountable because the referee's there. Then all of a sudden, people from the next team start slapping the referee, pushing him around and stuff. Are you going to respect the referee? Will you respect the referee? I mean, if your opponent is pushing the referee and spitting on his face, nobody will respect the referee. Like, well, why would you have a referee? We'll be like, we don't need a referee. This guy is useless, right? That's exactly what's happening. Well, the US under President Trump has imposed multiple sanctions on the International Criminal Court. Prosecutors and judges are being sanctioned. Okay, now we need to understand why the ICC was created. Okay, it was created basically to end impunity, this group of people. End impunity from what? From war crimes, okay? Or like genocide in Rwanda. Remember Rwanda? This is Rwanda on the map. Bad things happened in Rwanda. People killed each other. About 1 million people were unalive. I think in less than a month or something. It was bad. And people had to be held accountable for killing people for no reason, thinking they will be left alone. You know, this court was created to prevent ethnic cleansing, like in Yugoslavia in the 1990s. You know, people wanted a permanent court. You know, sometimes you open a court to judge people, but then some things drag a long way. So you need a permanent court. The court can't close. That's why they created the ICC for investigation, you know. And unfortunately, they don't show respect. Now, why are these people being sanctioned? They're being sanctioned over the alleged investigation against the country you don't name. Well, you don't name that country. Why you don't name the country? Because unfortunately, in this platform, when you name them, your video is shadow banned. Now, shadow banning is basically, your video is not sanctioned. It's basically not moving anymore. So let's say you have like 290,000 followers or 300,000 followers. When your video is shadow banned, your video is not published to 300,000 people. It's just published, forwarded to 5,000 people. When you mention somewhere, I'm sorry, you know, I mean, we've done this many times. So I think we have some level of experience. There's some things, some words you don't say. If you say those words, unfortunately, your video is not going anywhere. So let's try past them. It's nothing against them. We know nothing about nobody. We just care about what we're doing. So let's continue. Now, what's happened? There's an investigation, okay? An investigation against the country you don't name, the prime minister, and the chief of defense, okay? His name is Yoav. I'm not going to continue. They accuse them of doing very bad things in Gaza. You know Gaza? Yeah. Accuse them of doing very bad things. And for that matter, the US has sanctioned all the people that have accused them. I mean,
9 elected officials, including 6 judges, have been designated for sanctions by the United States, alongside with terrorists and drug traffickers. Their personal and family lives are being unsettled, and their ability to conduct financial transactions disrupted, also in the territories of state parties, including in Europe.
The world created this group of people, this justice system, the ICC, to prevent people from unaliving people freely with zero accountability. Now, it looks like when they're trying to do that job, whether it's correctly or incorrectly, they are being sanctioned. I mean, even if it is incorrectly, I'm sure there's more polite way of saying, no, what you're doing is not correct, right? But sanction them. On February 2025, there was a sanction against prosecutor named Karim Khan and his staff. As you can see, Karim Khan was sanctioned for what? Well, he was sanctioned in February because he requested a warrant of arrest against the prime minister of the country you don't name and the chief of defense for the negative things that was happening in Gaza. And because he did that, he was sanctioned. And we're going to find out what type of sanction he got. You just remember here that the very same person issued sanctions against Vladimir Putin. Why? Because they accused Putin of taking children from Ukraine and taking them to Russia. They say they abducted children and they hit Putin with a warrant of arrest, international. People clapped hands. They say, hey, congratulations, you need to arrest him. Putin cannot travel to any country. He's going to be arrested and sent to Hague. But why when the same person is doing the very same thing, or at least trying to work in a very similar way with other people, then you hit him with sanction? He was not hit with sanction with Putin, but he's hit with sanction with, at least not from the West. Number two, in December 18, 2025, they sanctioned 2 additional judges, one from Georgia, the other one from Mongolia. Gocha Lord Kipanidze, Eldonaber Suren Daben. The guy is from Mongolia. His name is not easy to pronounce. They sanctioned these people. Why did they sanction these two? These two were sanctioned because they upheld the ruling against the country you don't name's appeal on Gaha. So, in simple English, there was an accusation against the country you don't name about Gaha. Now, the country you don't name can hold an appeal against the accusation. They withheld the appeal instead of saying, no, the country you don't name didn't do anything wrong. They withheld the appeal, meaning the prime minister of the country you don't name cannot travel. So he's still under this. So that's irritated Trump and his group. They say, because you've done that, we're going to sanction you. So the ICC issued a warrant of arrest against the prime minister of the country you don't name and the defense minister. You can see them here. What does the country you don't name say? The country you don't name say you have no right to judge us because we are not a member of your court. Now, the judges said, they looked at the case and said, well, you know what? We can judge you. We're going to investigate your case. They decided to keep the warrant of arrest and allow the case to continue. And that's why the United States of America is very angry at them, because they're taking their close friends to justice. The U.S. believe they should not judge countries that don't agree to join them, like the country you don't name in them. So a total of 11 judges have been sanctioned. Sanctions number 1, the freeze assets. Okay, so anything you got in the United States, like your properties, you got a house, you got an apartment, a villa, is going to be seized. You got interest in the US, it's going to be frozen. Number 2, travel ban. Okay, so if you bought anything in America, yeah, you can forget about it. You cannot travel to America. No visa for you. Okay, you and your family, no visa. So banks, even in Europe, okay, often cut ties with US penalties. Okay, so if you are affected by the United States of America, you're sanctioned by the US, you cannot bank with any bank that's linked to American bank. So you're done. Basically, you cannot put money in the bank. You can't buy flight ticket using credit card, Visa, Maestro. You're done. You can't even use Hotmail or some of these Yahoos and stuff because, you're banned.
Immediately, our credit cards would be cancelled. That there would be some difficulties with banking in some banks, that there may be a measure of overcompliance with some banks, and that our children, for instance, and our spouses would not be able to.
Well, Trump protects them because they believe the sanctions are illegitimate and dangerous precedents endangering U.S. personnel. So Trump basically believed that whatever the ICC has accused the country you don't name is absolutely false. Remember, South Africa took them to court, accusing them of doing bad things in that country, and they should be accountable for it. And Donald Trump was very angry, and that was the beginning of the war, at least political war, between the United States of America and South Africa. And we can see here clearly that anybody that dares to stand against the country you don't name will have trouble with Donald Trump. Now, let's talk about the ICC, the referee. There are many presidents that never agree to it. Okay, many presidents, especially Africans, say no, we don't want this because it feels like this thing was created for us. This ICC you created to prevent people from unaliving people for free. It looks like people that are judged in this institution are only Africans. It makes no sense. Let's look at it. Look at this man. His name is Laurent Gbagbo. He's originating from Ivory Coast. Black man. This man, Joseph Kony from Uganda. You can see what he looks like. This man, Omar al-Bashir from Sudan. Okay, he did a lot of bad things, but yeah, he was called to the ICC. This man right here, his name is William Ruto. He's the current president of Kenya. He was indicted for 27 to 28 violence charges, and these were dropped in 2016. So Ruto has been called at the ICC for things that were negative. This man right here, his name is Jean-Pierre Bemba from the Congo. Okay, you can see what he looks like. This man, his name is Bosco Tangana. I think it's Rwandese or Congolese, I don't know. Look what he looks like. These are the people that's been inducted in ICC that's been presented or prosecuted or any other thing. Now, people are asking questions. Where is Bush? Where is Tony Blair for the things that they did in Afghanistan and Iraq and stuff like that? I mean, they accuse Iraq of having weapons of mass destruction. The weapons of mass destruction were never found, but millions of people were dead. Where are they to be paying a price for it? No, it looks like only black people have to go there. Well, Robert Mugabe, this man right here, spoke very openly about it.
This is not the headquarters of ICC anyway. And we don't want it in this region at all. We didn't sign it. Zimbabwe, we said no, we don't submit ourselves to justice outside our country. What for?
Mugabe was a strong critic of ICC, calling it a Western tool that only targets Africans while ignoring leaders like Bush and Blair. You know, he said that Africa should have its own court to try Europeans for colonial crimes. I mean, Mugabe he was hot. That's what it is. That's what it is, fellas. I mean, we live in a world where we talk about justice, but is there really justice? You know, there is law and justice. These are two different things. So if things go your way, you clap hands. If they don't go your way using the same law, then yeah. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. Should all African countries just remove itself from the ICC? I remember South Africa at some moment wanted to remove itself from ICC, of the signatory. But then I think they were advised by who, we don't know, to stay. In the meantime, some of the countries refused to live by the rules. God bless.